right, so I want to cover Charlie Kirk real quick, and then we got to get into Kamala Harris. And I have a wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, jam-packed second hour lined up for you already. You don't want to miss it. But Charlie Kirk, he made a statement. He was doing this talk at a church, and he gave a lot of points. I'm going to have Heather share the video. It's kind of long, but it's worth watching. But I wrote down what he said. He said, when you go into this trans movement, all right, and Heather, what you have? He wrote, what was that statement?
The Democrat Party supports everything that God hates. I hope you give a Sunday sermon and you talk about how the Democrat Party believes anything that God hates.
Yes. And it's crazy because I did a thing on Wednesday about Christians for Kamala, and I can't wrap my head around that anymore. It's one thing. Well, it's not. And we'll get to the fact of the number one right endowed by our Creator in the very first document written was the right to life. And right, it's in the first declaration. And
life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Right. So if you don't respect the right to life, and you wrap it up in abortion,
weird.
I answered somebody the other day. They were talking about the baby and the baby not being born yet, and that's why the baby doesn't have a choice because the baby can't fend for itself, it can't take care of itself, can't think for itself. It's completely dependent on another person. And I was like, so you just opened the door for killing old people. And they were like, what? I was like, what happens when your 85-year-old, 95-year-old dad can't take care of himself anymore? Drop mic. And all of a sudden he's a burden to your family and a burden to society, and he's impeding on your way of life, like the baby was impeding on the mom, right? Supposedly.
Right. Well, it is very much a parasite.
So you're allowed just to start killing old people now when they start impeding on your quality of life. My life, my choice. It's crazy.
So what age does that start?
Right. It's a small progression. It's slow progression. And don't even get me started on the 1916 Project with Martha Sanger or whatever her name is and how demonic she was. But anyways, Charlie Kirk made this statement. How disrespectful to women that these trans people think that by putting on a dress, putting on makeup, putting on high heels, and dressing as a woman makes you a woman. There is so much more to being a woman than what you wear. Right? But if you look at trans people, they want to feel like a woman and look like a woman, so they are a woman.
But they don't have any of the lovely perks of a menstrual cycle or squeezing a baby out of her uterus.
But Charlie Kirk actually went into the brain.
That's not fair.
Right. They want all the perks, but none of the issues. But Charlie Kirk actually went into how our brains are different. The way God wired our brains, women's thought process. And he listed,
very much.
He listed all these scientific studies that prove how women and men mentally, psychologically are different, right? And he said, how disrespectful, and where are the women of the world, women's libs, women's rights, women's equality? Why are they not standing up and saying, hey, wait, that's what we fight for. We're not just a slit in a skirt. Excuse my language, I know that sounds dirty, but back in the old days, that's what it was, right? In the workplace, you were the slit in the skirt. And women are like, no, we think, we're bright, we're smart, we have ideas, we're equal. Treat us differently. Just because we wear a dress, women started wearing suits and slacks and stuff to work. I mean, all that trans from women wearing dresses to women wearing suits and slacks for equal.
Now tank tops and shorts.
But to now have a generation of the world and leaders of our free world saying, you're a man, but if you want to put on a dress and identify as a woman, you can. You're equal to women. How disrespectful to women. And the same thing towards men. You got some girl who wants to start talking deep, taking testosterone, wearing boots and jeans and acting tough. That makes you a man. There's so much more to being a man than just putting on blue jeans and boots and going out and getting dirty in the daytime.
Oh, they get rid of their tops.
Oh. So there's so much more to being a president than dressing up. It's kind of crazy how God sent me that story right before the town hall, and then I watched it. There's so much more to being a president than dressing up or to have a copy, clip, paste, repeat talking point presentation. And that's all Kamala is now. Everything has been sent down. Here's what you do, copy, paste, repeat it.
Which would have been okay if there had been an actual explanation instead of just fancy words and really playing to your emotions. Like, we got to figure this out together. We got to, I'm going to do... Okay, so what are you going to figure out? You're not giving me anything. If it was something that you were giving like actual instruction for, then repeat that. That's fine. You've got 4 million speeches to do. You're not going to change them all.
Right, and that's okay. I'm right on point with you. Remember the joy? We're going to be the joy campaign. We're running on joy. We're bringing joy to the campaign trail. We're a new type of leadership. How quickly they've gone to hate. Everything now she runs on, Trump bad, Trump Hitler, Trump fascist, Trump bad. Every answer she gave in the town hall circled back to Trump bad. Didn't you hear? His top advisor said he's unfit. Well, you were in the White House with Joe, who's been unfit. And you never spoke up about that. But now you're upset at Trump, supposedly? So I'm not in love with CNN. So please don't misquote me. But is CNN either tricking us, okie doking us, or did CNN see the writing on the wall and realize they were going to go bankrupt? They actually, little bitty, little small, actually did some journalism. They fact checked her. Now, Anderson Cooper tried to drill her on a couple points, but she would raise her hand at him and give him that look, and then he would back off. All right? Let's talk about, oh my goodness, there's so much. I'm going to try to get to as much as I can. But they fact checked her on several things. She talked about Trump's tariff plan, right? They said, fact check. She said that 20% increase of all goods and necessities would affect the American consumers, costing you an extra $4,000 a year. The fact check says, even though her claim is reasonable, Harris is referring to one proposal of implementing a new tariff on people who leave the country and then try to sell stuff back to the country. So she took a very specific policy and tried to broad scale it across America. So they said that was a lie. It was a misquote, a lie. Fracking. They called her out on fracking. She said, I quote, "No, Anderson, I have pledged I would not ban fracking." But in 2019, she said, I will ban fracking on day one. Now, as vice president, she said, Joe Biden will not ban fracking. She's trying to use that clip to say, I said I'll never ban fracking. They called her out on that. Another lie. All right. Harris's claims that Trump only built 2% of the wall. And did you watch that? I watched the whole debate because I had a whole town hall because I had some crazy guys like, you never watch anything. You only are one-sided. You're in an echo chamber. So I was like, all right, dude, I'll watch the whole thing. I'll pop some popcorn. I'll watch the whole thing and I'll take some notes. So I did. And then I texted him, dude, she just lost Democrat voters and swing voters. And I think Republicans are doubling down. You should not be asking people to watch her. You need to let her go silent. She actually made a joke and she tried to belittle him and make fun of Trump about 2% of the wall. When in actuality, he built new 52 miles of a wall, and then he rebuilt between 370 and 402 miles of the broken wall that are now bigger, better, and more stable, and they match the 52 miles of the new wall. So he actually built 453 miles of the 2,000 miles he said he was going to build. So they fact-checked her on that, said she was lying. The other thing they fact-checked her on, she is now running on building a wall. And they were like, but in 2019, you said the wall was a medieval torture device and it was outdated and it was silly and it was stupid. But this is what I like, though. Anderson Cooper said, we all know how Congress works. And once money's allocated, it cannot be moved. Trump got $450 million allocated to build the wall, but Congress would never write the check. Harris is now using the $450 million that Trump got approved to build the wall if she wins. So Cooper was like, what's the deal here? Is the wall stupid and medieval, or is the wall good? And of course she stuttered and cackled and you know, blah, 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 and sidestepped it. So they fact-checked her on that. Another lie. Her claim on Trump's tax cuts. This, to me, was the biggest one. And it's all over the internet, and I actually posted several things on Facebook from CNN about how they fact-checked her. Y'all need to go check that out at Between the Ribs. But they had this clip. You're filthy rich. I'm going to keep you filthy rich and give you tax cuts. And it talks about how only his tax cuts only affected the super rich. But in actuality, 40% of Americans got a tax break 2018 and 2019 under the 2017 Tax Cut Jobs Act that Trump put into place. Now, of course, if you make $1 billion a year, you save more money on percentage than if you make $80,000 a year. But everybody across the board saved, let's see here. Notably, the top rate from 39% to 37% is what was saved by all families. Middle income tax paying families from $49,000 to $86,000 also saw an $800 a year tax income cut. So thank you, CNN, for finally fact-checking somebody on the Democratic side. And we don't have time to keep going through all of Kamala Harris's crap. But she actually has her Kamala Harris HQ website on social media, and they just blasted her on that. They just have shown, and the words they use is, Harris' campaign on social media has repeatedly deceived the American people with misleading edits and captions about Donald Trump. I don't know if it's too late, too soon, but kudos to you, CNN, for at least stepping up to the plate, 13, 12, well, I think we're like 11 days out now, to letting people know that Kamala is doing everything she's accusing Trump of doing. Stick around. Between the Ribs, Morris Family Farms, Organic Meats. We'll be right back.